Speaking of the CBA, the league is going to have to figure out these max contracts. As we've seen this Russell Westbrook fiasco, and including John Wall, just moving these guys around, just been hell. I mean, John Wall's out of his contract, but still, just that situation in Houston was not a good look for the league. Just having a guy who was able-bodied, ready to play, just sit him out and pay him 50 mil, it just wasn't a good look. And Russell Westbrook, just, man, there's a lot to say about Russell, because you can look at giving him the supermax. It made sense for Oklahoma City because he was valuable to them. Just like Damian Lillard, he's very valuable to Portland. But other teams outside of those franchises, they might not value some of these guys the same, and just moving their contracts around, especially after injury, it's real difficult. And who knows, after 2025 with this new CBA, they may find ways to put loopholes around these supermax contracts where teams could either pay guys out and just have a break. They get sort of like an amnesty clause. They might get like 2 or 3 of them every 2 or 3 years, or they may come up with some rule, but they got to do something about these supermax, these unmovable supermax contracts. Because once again, that John Wall situation and Russell Westbrook, it's just not a good look for the league. I mean, you have these guys that they've been promoting that are superstars or just stars in general, but then to see the treatment that they get right after they get these contracts, it looks a little funny in the light. I mean, the league for years have been running ads saying these guys are stars, come see them play. And then all of a sudden, not even in a year span, you got these guys can't even make a roster, or they're unwanted by teams because teams are tanking, or they traded for the player just to clear up cap space, or it creates a whole domino effect. It's kind of weird. I mean, one of the domino effects is having guys like John Wall and Russell Westbrook in free agency. That's kind of off. These guys were faces of franchises. Now all of a sudden they could team up with other guys to go after championships. As Russell Westbrook joining the Clippers. It's just, we're not saying that's going to be a good outcome for them. It doesn't mean that necessarily. It's just saying that it's weird to find these guys and sitting in a free agency pool, and it's just like they're told, no team wants them, but yet they're joining up with guys that are already kind of championship bound. It's almost like creating a super team through free agency. It's a lot of weird trickle down effects of this supermax. The only player I've seen it really work out for is Dame in Portland, because he's loyal to what they're doing and what they're building over there. And of course, you have guys like Stephen Curry, which is supermax is always going to work out for players like that in good standing, have good performance. But what about the supermax for players that are, they're just stars, they're not superstars, but I don't know. It's a strange gray area, because they qualify for the same contracts, but these contracts after a while they become unmovable, and it creates this awkward tension between the superstars and teams, which affect the fan bases. Because how are you going to tell a fan base to come out, buy a jersey, support a team where they're kind of bailing out on their superstar, a guy that they promoted for years, pay promotion, put in the development into? It's kind of a tricky sequence. I think the league got to put in some clauses here in some of these deals to make a smoother transition if a team pivots off a player that they give a super max to.